Hello and welcome back to How to Etsy, the YouTube series where I teach you how to open an Etsy shop by opening an Etsy shop and showing you how I'm doing it. That's the tagline now. It's long, it's probably not gonna ever be repeated. How to Etsy, bloop, bloop, bloop. Today we are talking about shipping and how to calculate your shipping. I have no actual evidence to back this up, but if I had to guess, I would say that the #1 thing that keeps people from actually opening their Etsy shop is getting stuck on not knowing what to charge for shipping. It can be an overwhelming thing to think about if you haven't shipped a whole lot of things and you don't know how to deal with the whole postage nonsense, but we're gonna do it together. So as you may recall from my last How to Etsy video, the thing I'm going to be selling in my new Etsy shop are these fingerless gloves. And yes, these are a completely new pair that I made because I decided what the heck, I may as well actually open this shop and show you the whole process, including the excruciating wait for the first sale. That's coming up, wait for that. So these bad boys will be for sale when I open up the shop, but for now we're just gonna figure out how to ship them. The first thing you want to do is figure out how you want to pack your thing. These are going to be pretty simple. I'm just going to stick them in a little plastic baggie and then stick that baggie in an envelope. Easy peasy. I don't want to stress too much about the packaging right now. A lot of Etsy sellers like to include business cards or cute little ribbons or bows or tissue paper to make their packages a little more personal, and I may do that along the line, but for now, envelope, Ziploc baggie, done. For the sake of giving you a more complicated example, I'm also going to talk about the thing I sell in my current Etsy shop, which is hula hoops, which are significantly more complicated to package. I collapse the hoop down, I have these little info packets and thank you notes that I print individually from Kinko's and put together. I wrap that sucker in bubble wrap and then I tape the whole thing up with packing tape. That process can take a while. The gloves are going to be a much simpler thing to ship, that's for sure. A note here, pay attention to what you're using to package and how much you're paying for your packaging materials, especially if you're including like little cutesy things or adding extras or samples or anything like that, which are all good ideas. You want to keep track of everything you're using to ship the hoops, including ink and paper that you're using to print labels. You want to make sure that you're covering yourself for that. If you've ever bought something from somewhere and it said like $9 shipping and handling and you've been like, what the fuck's the handling? This is the handling. It's the packaging materials, and it's also giving yourself a little bit of money to cover the time it takes to package things, because in the case of my hoops, it can take a lot of time to package those bad boys. So for the hoops, which include these little info packets that I print out at Kinko's, which depending on how many times I screw up can cost up to 50 cents a piece, I charge about $2 to cover all my packaging, bubble wrap, ink, tape, and a little bit of my time. For the gloves, I'm probably just gonna tack on an extra 50 cents because envelopes and baggies aren't super expensive, but I still want to be able to pay for them and not go in the hole shipping things out. Next thing you want to do is measure and weigh your thing. In the case of the gloves, it's going to be pretty easy. The envelope is square, it's 6 by 9. Thickness, it's about 1.5 inches. The hoops get a little bit crazier to measure. All the hoops I make are different sizes, so I just have all the measurements written down on a piece of paper to help me remember. The largest hoop I ship out is 50 inches, so that's going to be like a 25 by 25 inch package. You also want to know the weight of your package, and a lot of people will recommend getting one of those shipping scales, and if you're going to be sending a lot of different things that are different sizes for whatever reason, I would encourage you to do that too. If you are cheap and lazy like me, you can kind of estimate. As long as it's under £1, the pricing is pretty negligible. If you're unsure, overestimate. You can also just take it to the post office and have them ship it a few times, and then it prints the weight out on your receipt, and then you can use that information when you're entering the weight into Etsy later. If you're mailing out something really big and you definitely want to know how much it costs, you can do the old weigh yourself without the thing and then weigh yourself with the thing trick and see what the difference in weight is to get the weight of the item. It's not an exact science, but it's the cheap, easy way if you are a cheap, lazy person like I am. And then once we have all that information, we can hop online and figure out what it's going to cost you to ship. I'm going to show you how to do this on USPS.com if you live in America. That's the only shipping experience I really have. So if you're shipping from another country, I'm sure that your country's postal system also has a website where you can go through a similar, if not exact, process like this. So we're going to go to USPS.com and click on calculate a price. If you go through Etsy to do your shipping, it's going to cost a couple dollars less probably to just do your shipping through Etsy, but until you actually have a package to send through Etsy, you don't really know what the prices are going to be. So we're just going to start on USPS to get an estimate. So I am just going to put in a Dallas zip code. I live in Dallas, which is kind of in the middle of the country. You're going to want to put in your zip code. You want to see what the price is. if it's shipping close to you, and if it's shipping far away from you. For me, the most expensive places to ship to are New York and California. So let's start with local, from Dallas to Dallas. So in the case of the gloves, I'm going to be doing large envelope. For hoops, I do large package, and I'm going to show you the difference in just a sec. I'm doing standard, but if you do metric, you can do metric. As we discussed, I'm just going to assume it's about half a pound. It's just going to ask you questions, you're going to follow along. First class, blah, blah, blah. Check if any apply. The large envelope is too rigid, does not bend easily. Not the case. The large envelope contains items that cause more than 1/4 inch variation in thickness. That is the case, so we are going to check that and continue. These shipping prices are gonna freak you out. They are bullshit. Ignore them. They're showing you like rush shipping right off the bat. But if you go down, you will see first class is gonna be like $340. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to Google and I'm gonna find a California zip code. I could just use 90210. So we're gonna go back to USPS and start over. So we're gonna put our starting zip code and our far away zip code, and we're gonna go and just do all the same stuff. It's a large envelope. It weighs 8 pounds, 8 ounces rather. This is all bullshit pricing, first class. So it's the same price. So that's really cool. It makes mailing the gloves pretty straightforward. I can charge a flat rate of $4 and have my supplies and the shipping pretty much covered. And if I find out that Etsy charges significantly less, I can adjust the prices as I see fit. Now we want to check international shipping. The item's value is 45 American dollars. I should select a faraway province. Probably Yukon. I'm shipping to Yukon. I'm shipping to Beaver Creek, Yukon. Oh my gosh, it's only 10 bucks. It is so cheap to mail things that aren't hoops. I'm just gonna set my international Canada price then to $10. Let's try Australia. 14, I would probably go up to flat $15. So cool. We've got $4 for America shipping. We've got $10 for Canada, and we've got $15 for Australia, which I'm just going to dub everywhere else. Now I'm gonna show you what it looks like to ship something awkwardly shaped like my hoops. This is a large package, 1 pound, 10 ounces. And now comes the fun part, because we have to get height, width, and length. And my hoops are non-rectangular, which means we're getting into girth territory. A 40-inch hoop collapsed down is gonna be 20 inches. It's about 3 inches in height, 46 inches for girth. Continue. 680 local. Where it cost me like $6 to ship locally, it costs $10.25 to ship to California, which is why I charge $11 across the board. So if I'm shipping a hoop to California and charging $11, it doesn't quite cover my packaging. But if I am shipping a hoop locally and charging $11, I'm kind of making up the difference there. So that's really all there is to it. That wasn't so bad, right? I mean, you can totally do this. Remember, shipping is also something fluid. You can change it as you gain more information. The more things you ship out, you'll figure out what areas cost more to ship to, what areas cost less to ship to. You can let Etsy calculate it all for you, but just remember that's not going to cover your packaging. I like charging a flat rate across the board to make sure that everything is covered. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions at all, feel free to leave them in the comments. Next time we're going to talk about how to take pictures, especially if you aren't a natural photographer, which I certainly am not. Thank you for watching. I hope you are having a beautiful day. Goodbye. Thank you again for watching my video. This is the end screen now. My name is Jess and I'm making weekly videos every week for a year for my You52 project. If that sounds like something you also want to do, there is a link in the description to a Facebook group you can join where we're hanging out and posting videos, kind of. No one's really in it right now, but please come hang out with us. I'm selling it super great. I post my videos every mystery day. These are the people who either guessed in the poll or guessed correctly, because if you guessed at all, I want to give you some sort of recognition. If you would like to guess the next mystery day I post a video, there's a poll in the description. Goodbye! I just learned my tripod allows me to do this. I never knew that before today. Hello, camera string.